Okay, here's an alcohol video. I just woke up. I gotta go to work in a minute. I got all my food ready and stuff. I haven't drank for 80 days. It's December 5th, I think, and I'm still kind of tired. And I'm going bald. Sucks. Hate it. But um, so I was so I think I'm onto this thing. So I got kind of fatter. I got kind of fatter. I'm not gonna really show my fat here, but I want to show. I always do this sometimes. See, I pinch it. See how fat that is. It's not much, but it's a little bit. So, okay, this is a video about diet. This is an a diet video. So, so about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I started realizing that my muscle was getting way too skinny around like my arm, just everywhere, and I was like, okay, I'm riding 300 miles a week. This riding my bike is it burns up all the glycogen in your liver. Exercise, and then it goes to well, it goes to probably burns up your fat. It does for sure. But I don't think fat is fat, and I don't think muscle is muscle. So this is my whole thing, and I'm not. I didn't go to school. I don't. I'm not. I didn't go to physiology. But here's what I noticed. My arm was 12 inches around. So I started eating all these carbs. Well, I lifted 2 times a week, and it was 12 inches around because it was 13, but I was exercising every day and I wasn't eating many carbs, and it just burned up all that glycogen inside my muscle where you have muscle strands, but it just burns up all the glycogen, which it turns to glucose. Well, I don't know if it's glucose, but it's something similar. Glucose comes from noodles and bread and stuff like that, I guess, and fructose comes from from fruit or candy. So I guess people have all these different. They say all these things about it, but so I ate all these carbs for 2 weeks, and I lifted, and my arms went back to 13 inches around. 13 inches around from 12 inches. I have it measured on my wall. I do these measurements, so I can tell. I can see it. So then I was like, today, like I'm like, okay, my fat. I got more fat, and I can feel it. I can feel it fat, and definitely, and it was from 2 weeks of carbs. Now, like, you don't just gain all this fat easily. I think so. I'm thinking my fat is like my muscle. It strands. My muscle strands. It just absorbs that glucose or glucose that it's turned into glycogen by your liver maybe, and then because I don't totally know it, and then it goes into your muscle, so it fills up your muscle again. So your muscle looks big because you have the glycogen. But so my fat did the same thing. It filled up too, and it's like it got that glycogen. So then at 2 weeks, I was having a really tough time. I was in all this pain. I was feeling really, and I make these alcohol videos, but this is more kind of directed toward health stuff. Um, so I was in this pain, like I had this shooting pain down my leg, which I know is like a spinal problem. I had my back hurt so bad it was hard to bend over. My left shoulder is killing me, and it's because it still is a little bit, but not as bad, not even close to as bad, and it's because I the way I put my backpack on, and so so my whole thing is this isn't just fat. This isn't just fat. This is storage. It's storage for glycogen, because in the next week, after it's gonna be gone. I'm gonna get back down to like 4%, which is body fat percentage. Measure right here. You measure your leg. You measure right here, and you find out what your fat percentage is with calipers. So what I'm saying is that if you're riding your bike 50 miles a day, it's probably the equivalent of running like 15 miles in a way with that calories. But I'm saying that it's we're just storage units for calories and carbs, and carbs to me seem like the biggest thing, I think, you know, so far, that makes you store all these calories in your body. So I'm like, why does this happen? Like, it was 2 weeks went by and my muscle got bigger, well, what they would call muscle, and my fat got bigger. And it only took 2 weeks, and in that time I had so much pain. I was in so much pain. I did so bad delivering. I was mentally just felt like crap. And now I'm going back into this kind of ketogenic, intermittent kind of fasting diet where I'm trying to eat enough calories every day. And I've been doing that. I quit eating sugar 2 days ago, and I'm just kind of like want to make this video because I think it's like something that if people are really aware of, like, it really changes my kind of perspective on life and like outlook of how good I can feel. And it really has a lot to do with quitting quitting sugar. And I know this is kind of a trend, but for me it feels like it does. I mentally feel better. And then, and they always say too, like, if you think something's gonna happen, it does happen. So your mind might be in complete control or partially in control when um when and maybe I'm just kind of attaching myself to this trend of no sugar, but I feel like it really works, and I've never had real results before. I've always been a good athlete and been able to like continue to lift more and more weight, and then play competitively sports like better and better by eating what I would think would be healthy, even though when I was younger it wasn't. I drink Pepsi, 2 Pepsis a day or whatever. But really changing my diet right now, I've never been this low body fat and been this strong at the same time. So I think it is pretty relevant to quitting the sugar and and then and then um cutting down on carbs. And so yeah, it does add muscle, and it does add fat, which fat is really good. Well, glycogen in your skin is really good for burnt fuel for the next couple of weeks for me. But I think there's a real balance between getting just the right enough amount of carbs, like from rice and sweet potatoes and vegetables, to filling up your muscles, but not having it go into your fat or your skin. So I think there's a balance there. But I also think there's something where it's almost like you burn up all the sugar and carbs in your body, and insulin or whatever, that causes like some kind of inflammation on your spine and your other body parts, where you burn it up and you're just, you're in pain, and you're still eating all this sugar and carbs, and all of a sudden you burn it up, and then all of a sudden it flattens out and starts going down, and you start losing weight, and you start feeling better, and you don't have pain. And it's almost like you have to get over this little hill, and it's like one way, it's almost like you kind of notice it. Like today, I just noticed I'm way in less pain, and it's like I'm right at the top of this hill, and I haven't eaten sugar for a day except for a couple of bananas. And now I feel like I'm just going down the other side, like, all right, here goes. I'm gonna start burning all this fat and glycogen. So it's kind of like now I'll have to keep up with carbs to keep muscle, but sustain that while I burn fat, and I feel really good, and I don't have pain. So I don't really, to get to where I'm at, I've been kind of practicing this kind of diet for like 7 months. And a couple weeks ago was the first time I was the skinniest I've ever been in my life. My muscle was just disappearing. And that was when I was like, I don't know, this seems kind of dangerous. I'm going to start eating carbs. So I did. And then I felt crappy, and it all came back. All the muscle came back. And then I was like, now I'm like, okay, now I'm going to do it again. But this time I'm going to try to incorporate more carbs. I think calorie counting would be the best, but since I'm riding like 50 miles a day, it's hard for me to really count calories like I'm sure that it's probably easier than I think, and I could just do a math equation every day, but I would have to make up for those calories every night, and I'm not really hungry. Like I'll be full because I'm intermittent fasting kind of, so I'll get full and I won't feel like eating. So I probably should, if I want to sustain like a certain weight, or I'll be a really skinny bike rider that weighs 150 pounds. So anyway, this video I don't know if it's gonna um inspire anyone, but if I was to say, if you want to have less pain and you want to also lose weight, I would say, um well, look up a diet, look up just eat whole foods. I would say look at your body weight, what your desired body weight is, and how much you weigh, and do the little math equation, how many calories you need a day, and try to get to that amount of calories every day. Um, Girls don't intermittent fast as well, I heard, with because of the thyroid, but at the same time, it's really works good for me. It gives me a ton of energy, and but if you can just do those calories that you need every day on whole food, and I mean vegetables, and mostly vegetables, a little bit of fruit, and then protein, whatever kind of protein, plant-based, tofu, whatever works good for you, chicken, um, and then if you do that, and then you exercise a lot, like I mean, you like walk 5 miles, walk as much as you can, or run, ride a bike, swim, because there's something about it when you start burning, when you start to feel like you have a ton of energy. I notice it's not after I eat, it's when I get this extra super energy, and I feel like it's completely burning glycogen from my liver. I feel like I'm burning my fat. I feel like I'm just getting after burning my fat, and I'm burning my reserve fuel sources, which is fat, or glycogen there, muscle glycogen. That's when I feel like I'm really got this ton of energy, and it's a way better energy than from food. And so it's hard to explain, and it's almost like you got to do it. I'm sure people can explain it, but I've been doing it for, well, years from work, like 10, 12 years, but from physical activities of work. But right now it's mostly from riding my bike, and it's and I really notice it. So, and I'm able to ride 300 miles a week, which it makes the process quicker. So I'm more like burning through stuff, and then I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the energy. So, and I know that if you're overweight, or have a hard time quitting sugar, then it's gonna be harder to get to that same effect. But it's pretty awesome, and I just want to say, because I feel like I feel like mentally, like, healthy is like how I feel, is I feel like really good mentally. So figured I'd make the video. Well, anyway, good luck. All right, bye.